Scandinavian Bob here, hi. Week number 4 of the No Nut November Super Challenge is just about to start. And before I get into this video, make sure to comment below whether you're still going strong or if you now belong to our fallen brothers. Alright, so what is Scandinavian Bob going to say about the rules for week number 4? Well, since this is No Nut November, the first rule will continue to the very last day. But now here's a surprise for you. There will be no other rules here. That's right, I want you to look at these last 10 days of November as a kind of warm-up for the rest of your life. Pick whatever rules you did in week number 1, 2 or 3 and keep doing them either on a daily basis or in cycles. Because don't think that your dopamine system will stay 100% healthy after November is over if you just go back to abusing it like you used to. So do use these last days to really think about what you could take with you as you move on into December and the rest of your future. Now, here's what I would recommend. From the first rule here, I would actually recommend that you keep staying away from adult content forever, because there is nothing that is more destructive for your brain's reward system than today's super stimulating adult sites. They really fry your dopamine receptors. So yeah, I definitely recommend you keep that off the table. And then what you do about the busting is of course totally up to you. If you want to keep doing retention, that's fine. But even if you want to keep doing self-stimulation without adult sites, it won't mess with your dopamine system, so that's fine too. Maybe you just want to bust with your partner, that's also fine. Or perhaps you want to do retention streaks in cycles. Well, that's also an option. All of those options are totally fine and something that you should decide for yourself. Now, the way I personally do it is that I have zero tolerance for adult sites. I will never use adult sites again. But then on top of that, I do engage in retention in cycles, and I'm often experimenting with different lengths to find what kind of cycle gives me the most energy, drive and confidence. Now, as far as all the other rules you have been trying, then I do recommend you keep experimenting with them. For example, turning off the internet a couple of hours before going to bed can be a wonderful tool to implement in periods of your life, and it really gives your dopamine system a break. And watching YouTube videos to the very end will definitely train you to keep your focus. And so does reading physical books as well. And thus it helps your dopamine system. Meditation is another very powerful tool. But the 3 most powerful things you can do to help upregulate your dopamine system are physical exercise, intermittent fasting, and cold showers. Now, I didn't introduce cold showers during this challenge because, well, I don't know all of you. Some of you may have some kind of heart condition and then jumping into an ice cold shower may not be that good for you. However, I can tell you that I personally do all of these 3 on a regular basis, and boy do they work for giving you a better functioning dopamine system. Now, never ever take any of these 3 to the extremes. Always be smart about it, and if you suspect any kind of health problems, then talk to your doctor before you start doing things like extended fasts or very intense exercise or jumping into ice cold water. But again, they are indeed very powerful. And here's something interesting for you. Some guys are a bit worried about if addiction to adult sites could have permanently messed up their dopamine system. Well, I'm currently working on a video where I'm going to talk about a study about people who were addicted to meth. Yes, a super heavy drug, and how those of them who did physical exercise after quitting the drug saw a significant upregulation of their dopamine D2 receptors, and those who didn't engage in exercise saw little to almost no upregulation. And that's some seriously heavy drug right there, so that really shows the power of physical exercise. But more on that in a coming video, where I also will be talking about what kind of exercise they did, and I will also speculate whether or not intermittent fasting could be even more powerful than exercise. So guys, during these last 10 days of November, do some more experimenting and really try to think what you could implement and how you could implement it as you keep going when November is over. Because one thing is for sure, if you have a sharp and highly potent dopamine system in your brain, everything in life will be easier, more interesting, and much more enjoyable. Lastly, as overcoming a PMO addiction can be a bit tricky, if you find yourself struggling and failing again and again, then perhaps consider getting some help. You can, for example, reach out to me for a one-on-one coaching session, but I'm not just saying that to promote myself here. No, you can just as well seek out some local therapist in your area or find some other help. But if you have been trying for more than 6 months and you keep relapsing, you should really consider doing something with someone, because unfortunately addiction is progressive, meaning it tends to get worse over time. If you need help, then there is also the possibility of doing an online course at your own pace. In order to know what courses I should recommend, I have been checking out a special system, and I really have to say it produces phenomenal results. This is a course using something called habit construction therapy, which is a powerful thing, especially when it comes to quitting addiction to adult sites. And that, in combination with the fact that the course is created by a licensed therapist who has personal experiences with having to overcome his own addiction to adult sites, well, this makes the system work extremely well. It's quite unique, really. So if that's something that could be of interest to you, then I recommend you sign up to a free webinar where Josh Hudson tells you more about the principles behind this method, and then you can decide what to do from there. You can find a link to that webinar right under this video. Just click the link where it says webinar and it'll take you there. I will also include a link to my own coaching down there if you'd rather get coached by me, or then don't do anything with either of us, but do something with someone, because life is too short to waste it on addiction to adult sites. This is Scandinavian Bob signing out for today, and as always, I wish you all the best in your journey to become the strongest version of yourself. And remember, as Winston Churchill used to say, if you are going through hell, keep going.